The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The health department is recommending against the use of cloth masks outdoors. The DOH explains that surgical masks are still preferred since these provide better protection against COVID-19 and its variants. To tell us more about all of this, we have Greg Gregorio now joining us live from Mandaluyong. Greg, good afternoon. Could you talk us through why the DOH has suddenly recommended against the use of cloth masks?
Yes, Charles, according to Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere, this recommendation is pursuant to the interim guidelines of the World Health Organization, saying that if an area is having a high-risk classification due to the increasing number of COVID-19 cases and transmission of the more transmissible variants of the SARS-CoV-2, the use of medical-grade masks or surgical masks are recommended instead of the use of cloth masks. As you have said, health authorities are saying that the surgical mask gives better protection against infection of COVID-19, but the Department of Health clarifies that if without access to surgical mask, cloth mask may still be used instead of having no masks at all. Charles?
Greg, I understand that there are new A2+1 and A3+1 vaccination strategies that are being implemented by the government. Could you tell us more about this?
Yes, Charles, this A2+1 and A3+1 strategy is the government's move to encourage more individuals to be vaccinated. For the A2+1, those senior citizens who would come to vaccination sites and receive their jabs may bring an additional individual from their household, be it their caregiver or any part of their family, to receive their jabs. According to Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere, there are studies saying that once a senior citizen or an elderly see or witnesses a successful vaccination to their family member or from someone they know, they are immediately encouraged to have their vaccine too. And now for the A3+1, the Department of Health clarifies that this does not cover all individuals under the A3 sector or the persons with comorbidity. Vergere emphasized that this would only include those A3 who are having having cancer or had a transplant or those who are immunocompromised. According to Vergere, the policy is still being routed for signature as of the moment, and they expect for the release of this policy within the week. Charles?
Okay, Greg, let's talk about quarantine for COVID-19 patients for a bit. Is the government allowing home quarantine in case you develop COVID-19 symptoms? And what are some of the limitations on this measure?
Yes, Charles, according to Vergere, this recommendation is to pursuant to their earlier recommendation allowing home quarantine for asymptomatic, mild, and moderate COVID-19 cases. But if they're only allowed by the local government units to do home quarantine, if they will ask for home quarantine, requirements would be they have their own rooms, their own comfort rooms, they have access to medical supply, they have access to healthcare workers who would monitor them. And Vergere said if local government units would say that an individual or a COVID-19 case with asymptomatic, mild, or moderate infection is guided to be at a specific quarantine facility, they should follow these measures by the local government, as it is also provided under the law for us to follow these measures under this pandemic. Charles?
Greg, could you give us an update on the possible vaccination of kids? I understand that things are looking up for the pediatric sector.
Charles, our experts have reiterated their explanations that at this point in time, vaccination for children is not yet allowed. As Dr. Ana Ong Lim, a pediatric infectious diseases specialist and also a member of the DOH Technical Advisory Group, highlighted that as of the moment, only Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine has this emergency use authorization for the use to be inoculated for ages 12 and above. Dr. Mary Ann Bunyi of the Pediatric Infectious Disease Society of the Philippines also said, if this is the case, more children will not qualify for this, if we will start vaccinating children. Thus, our experts, our authorities are saying we should all wait for more evidence according to the safety of these COVID-19 vaccines for children. And also, we should all consider the supply of vaccines. Thus, as of the moment, what we are targeting is vaccinating all adult population or elder population for us to achieve a cocoon effect or cocoon strategy in giving indirect protection to our children in every household. Charles?
Thank you for those updates, Greg. That was Greg Gregorio reporting live from Mandaluyong. The Trade Department says 8 companies have signaled interest to put up vaccine manufacturing sites in the country. Speaking with Agenda, Trade Secretary Mon Lopez said 2 of them are now in advanced talks for local vaccine production. Lopez added that these companies would produce not just COVID-19 vaccines, but also other regular vaccines needed by Filipinos. He also encouraged more companies to extend their manufacturing capacity in the country.
Talagang ina-encourage naman natin itong mga vaccine manufacturer, any brand, as long as they have established EUA. So yung wala pang EUA dito, they're also now undergoing mga clinical trials so that they can be issued an EUA, so that when they plan to put up their manufacturing capacity here, they're already accepted in the market and they're allowed by FDA.
On Tuesday, the country remembers victims of extrajudicial killings under the Duterte administration. Bereaved families continue to seek justice just a few months before the end of the president's term. Mobile journalist Stanley Gahete gives us the front seat to the story.
2 teenagers shared their same tragic story. They ended up killed by police officers in President Rodrigo Duterte's bloody and brutal war on drugs. Christine remembers her 17-year-old son Joshua, who was gunned down in 2018 in Pangasinan. She still feels the pain and continues to cry for justice.
Hindi rin naman biro yung mawalan ka ng mahal sa buhay sa pamamaraan ng hindi magandang pagmaslang.
Joshua was killed when he reportedly exchanged gunfire with some policemen after breaching a checkpoint. Human rights advocates are also marking the death of another 17-year-old Kian Delos Santos in Caloocan. His death sparked widespread protest against the war on drugs, which led to the conviction of 3 policemen, the only case to be resolved by a local court. His uncle Randy is still seeking justice.
Malungkot dahil marami pa rin ang napapatay at patuloy na pinapatay sa kabila ng may pandemya na tayo na nagpapahirap sa mga kababayan natin.
2 months ago, the former chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court requested to open an investigation into the human rights situation in the Philippines, saying there is enough proof to dig deeper into the crimes against humanity against President Duterte. Fatu Bensouda said there is a pattern in about 12,000 to 30,000 killings.
Kaya nakikita mo yung mga pinatay, halos isa lang yung sinasabi nila, parang ang photocopy na lang yung stop report, puro ng laban.
Joshua and Kian were 2 17-year-old victims, but there were dozens more children who fell victims in the name of the president's war on drugs.
Kailan naging solusyon ng pagpatay? Balikan mo yung mga pamilya ng pinatay. Lahat ba ng pinatay na yan ay talagang salot ng lipunan?
I am Stanley Gahete and we are One News.
A lawmaker says Congress is eyeing to pass the divorce bill before the end of the 18th Congress. Albay Representative Edsel Lagman tells One News' Agenda that the measure could be passed soon as it's not facing much contention in the Catholic Church nor the Cabinet, unlike the controversial RH law. Lagman said the proposed divorce law will mandate a faster and cheaper separation process compared to annulment. The divorce bill also offers special considerations for overseas Filipino workers. Psychological incapacity and irremediable marital differences or brutality in the family are some of the proposed grounds for divorce.
we should give spouses the freedom to petition for an absolute divorce in order to liberate them from a failed marriage. Ito naman ay sa palagay ko mas mabilis ipasa ito compared to the reproductive health bill na talagang marami yung opposition from the Catholic hierarchy. Dito naman ay hindi gaanong matindi ang opposition ng Catholic Church. Because all Catholic countries in the world, except the city-state of Vatican, have their own divorce bills, laws. And tayo lang ang natitira na walang absolute divorce law.
Here's a quick look at some of today's headlines. Health Secretary Francisco Duque cries foul over the COA report on the DOH. But COA Chairman Michael Aguinaldo claps back and insists that due process was followed. Dozens of Filipinos in Afghanistan are still waiting to be repatriated as the Taliban solidifies control over Kabul. But there are also Filipinos who refuse to go home to the Philippines. And the Philippines is having not just one but two reality competitions for drag queens. Casting auditions are open for both the first season of Drag Race Philippines and the pilot of Drag Den Philippines. And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us again later at 1 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.